Okay, so it's finally time. We finally get to reassemble this Coyote. We're gonna start off, we're gonna plastic gauge the bearings, make sure everything's in spec. And after we do that, we're gonna hone the cylinders, we're gonna get new rings put on these pistons, and we're actually gonna get everything done and taken care of today. There's no more avoiding it. I've tried as much as I can, and my buddy Cody will not allow me to avoid anything. So,
yes, sir.
We're gonna go ahead and get this shit taken care of, and in order for me not to talk any more than I usually do, we're gonna go ahead and shut this down now and get into it. So we're starting here with the first bearing cap. We're getting it torqued down, put on, and the clearance checked to ensure that it's good to go. It's tight. It wasn't. Yeah. So these are all the exact same measurements. So our clearances are connecting rod bearing clearance is 0.027 to 0.069. So pretty much 70 would work. This is 76, a little bit bigger than that. So it's sitting about 0.068, 0.067. So here we went straight back into checking the next bearing caps. The first one come out at 0.007. Our clearance is 0.0027 to 0.0069. And we obviously didn't like it that high at all. That's out of clearance. It might be right there on the edge, but we weren't willing to walk that line. And as we're going through and checking the rest of them, they're all coming out at 0.007 in that range. So being that we didn't have oversized bearings, we obviously are not able to run this current setup with what we have for this crank. So here we had made it to the 4-cylinder of 8, and they were all coming out the exact same thing. And I hadn't ordered main bearings, so we just kind of stopped here and realized, you know what? We need to go down to the main bearings. Everything's so worn out. I'd rather be safe than sorry here. So being that the rod end cap bearings were so far out, I figured the main bearings would as well. Okay, so we're done for the day on the Coyote, and it didn't go as planned. Our rod end bearings ended up with the new ones ended up coming out of spec. They came out not way too high, but high enough to where I didn't feel good about it. Cody didn't feel good about it. So what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna go and have our crank turned. Okay, so I'm stopping the video there because I did not have all the information I do now. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm buying a new crank. So the reason why I'm buying a new crank is because the lobes on this one have been wore down. This engine had 200,000 miles on it. I mean, for $500, I'm not complaining, but it was expected. So it had 200,000 miles on it. So we're just gonna go ahead and buy a new crank. The lobes are too worn down to really use oversized bearings. We definitely could. We could make it work. But for longevity reasons, we're just gonna run a new crank in with new bearings, and we're gonna make sure that we don't have to do this again. So that's why I'm stopping it here, because in that portion of the video, we were just gonna put new bearings in it, oversized, and just run it how it is. But when it comes to cost effectiveness, it was just as cost effective to get a new crank and put it in there than to have this one turned and put oversized bearings on it. So we're taking a stop here. I hate it. I absolutely hate it, because I did not want to stop. I wanted to get this whole thing redone so I could get the trans mounted to it so we could actually get it in this Mustang, because let me tell you, I'm absolutely ready. I'm tired of having parts sitting around the garage. I'm ready to see this thing with the engine in it, and it won't be long. It really won't. But for right now, we have to take a break until we can get that crank in. And then once that crank and the bearings are in, we are, absolutely good to go. So for right now, we're stopped dead in our tracks. It's not horrible, but it is what it is. I've been through worse. It's just, it should have been expected. It should have been expected with a $500 engine with 200,000 miles. I was just being hopeful and optimistic, and I went too far into it. So note taken. But aside from that, I'm still super excited about this build, super excited to get this tire killer on the road, because let me tell you, it is gonna do just that. We are going to have a blast with this thing. We just have to take it one step at a time. I'm no engine builder, but I'm also not stupid. So we're gonna get this done. I'll update it as soon as I can to get them parts in, ready to go. See my buddy, the UPS man, he's like one of my favorite people right now. Brings all the parts. But as of right now, we're taking a stop until we can get the proper stuff in to get this done the right way. I don't want to have to do this in a couple years, or not in a couple years, in a year. Whenever I go to rebuild this engine, I don't want to put a crank in it. I'd rather do it now and take care of it while I'm here. So for now, that's all I have for it. That's all I have for the rebuild portion of the build. But if you're here watching this, I appreciate it so much. I'm glad to see you. If you want to watch more, get down there and subscribe. There's going to be plenty more to come. It's just, we're at kind of a standstill right now, but as of right now, this build is coming along. It's just going to take a little bit of time and effort to do it right and get it done the way I need it done. So thank you again. It is your boy, Alec Kane, getting off here.